Tear it out. Cut it off. Do whatever it takes to live a holy and chaste life. We might say, I'm doing all right. I don't have to go to such extremes. And yet, we are steeped in our sins. It sounds pretty gross to think about doing harm to our body in order to strictly follow the commandments. But that is what Jesus is telling us today, that it takes in order to nurture our souls in this world in which we live. There are all sorts of temptations that surround us, and we may have even grown numb to the effect which they have had on us. We will tear out an eye, cut off a limb. We will do all sorts of harmful things to our bodies, even put poison in it, in order to try to save it from further deterioration. I know of people with diabetes who have been through surgeries to first cut off their toes, then their feet, then their legs, in order that gangrene from infections in their body not spread further. What are we willing to do in order that sin not spread any further through our soul? When we discover that we have cancer, we will cut out a part of ourselves and drink all kinds of concoctions of medicines to try to kill the cancerous cells, which, by the way, is poisonous to other cells in our bodies. We suffer from the after effects of the treatment, sometimes terribly, in order to rid ourselves of that which would kill us. The effects of sin are killing our souls, even though we can't see what is happening to them. That is the purpose of the sacrament of reconciliation, to give us reflection time to understand what is killing our souls, what is keeping us from being more loving to others, what is pushing us away from the ways of the Lord. The idea is to help us to understand what it is that we have to cut out of our lives, to change our ways in order to more closely follow Jesus' commands. As I have reflected on my own sins and behavior, I have seen a pattern of thinking that had become sort of automatic in my life. And it's difficult to change that pattern because it was so ingrained in me. It was habitual, like I said, automatic, done without thinking. At one point, I noticed that I would get very upset, majorly upset, as someone who would lie to me. And it was over something that was really no big deal. My reaction seemed to be out of proportion to what was said. But internally, I would rant and rave about that person. Well, it turns out, the reason why it bothered me so much is because that was exactly what I would do. Lie about some insignificant thing. Whenever I wanted to get out of something or had done something which I was embarrassed about, I would make up some, what I thought was plausible excuse, which wasn't entirely true, and then think that I had gotten away with it without hurting the other person's feelings. Little did I realize what it did to me. It built up walls between me and others. It expended a lot of energy in order to be able to perpetuate the lie. Energy which could have been used for building bridges instead of walls. So I made a conscious effort to rid myself of my lying behaviors. It didn't seem like a big thing to me, but it was difficult. After all, they were just little fibs, little white lies, but they were killing my soul. It wasn't easy to change, but it has given me more peace inside. Tear it out. Cut it off.